All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, very very short break there. We're back into it. Sean had a couple losses there. I said stuff like that last time. I can't remember exactly what it was. I drank a lot of water. The AC's maybe not working again. And roaming. Here we are, roaming. Was that one better?
Yeah,
That was an improvement. Let's be real.
that was a good intro.
Pretty much no
Because
matter
you
what I
asked
do,
me
it'd be
no
better.
questions and stopped talking. So now the responsibility is on me to tell you how things went.
Yeah.
And let me break it down for you. I think that the Bane game I was very proud of, which is, I certainly did some things incorrectly and things that I would have wished I did better. But overall, I was very pleased with throughout the entire game. I felt like I had a sense of what plan I was trying to establish and how to satisfy that.
And it felt like you made shit actually happen consistently. Like you were there to start fights, make ganks happen, nightmare people out of position. That's one of my favorite things about Bane is that you can Fiend's Grip somebody for 5 seconds and any team can react to that. They're like, oh
Yeah.
shit, it took me 3 seconds to realize like I was Fiend's Grip. I'll follow up now. And he's still stunned
know.
for 2 more. Like,
And
that's why
as
it's
someone
great.
with the name Anti-Turtle, even a turtle could respond to that time frame.
That's absolutely true. So we talked before a little bit about Bane's attributes, and I think you talked about his disable being really good, but the point that I brought up was his trading.
Yeah.
Do you feel like he's really good at trading? Because I felt like you didn't do it super efficiently.
Yeah, I think that I didn't realize that quite how much faster Centaur War Runner and Spirit Breaker were than I was. And so they kept getting in extra hits. So I was turning around to get in an extra auto attack when I shouldn't have been. My evaluation of the early game is most of my problems with Bane revolved around that I was trying to sneak in extra auto attacks when I needed to really just hit once, hit twice, run all the way back until they decided to disengage and then re-engage. I think that was the big thing. But because I didn't do that, there was just a lot of man fighting that happened.
Yeah, and they have really good stuns, so it's kind of hard to deal with it. The other thing that super hurt you was your skill build. And I saw that you got Nightmare basically as the game started, but this is a huge mistake. I think Nightmare level 1 as Bane should only be done pretty much if you are going to set it up with something like a Marana Arrow. Like something that guarantees a long disable. Because I believe in the earlier part, the lesson plan, you talked about Nightmare, or you talked about Bane as being a good disable hero basically. And he kind of is, but Nightmare is honestly not a very good disable, in my opinion. Because first of all, it costs like half of your mana pool, if not more, slightly more than half your mana pool, and it only does 80 magic damage, and it doesn't technically disable them. It just buys you 4 seconds to get in position.
Right.
So you kind of dicked yourself by not getting Brain Sap, because Brain Sap's 70 mana. It does, 90 pure damage, which is a 180 HP swing. And that's why your trading was bad this game, because you had a worthless skill.
Well, let me deposit my cat onto my shoulders so she can appropriately snug.
Okay.
But one question I had about Nightmare is my understanding of it. This is completely not addressing what you're saying, but I just want to make sure I ask this. Nightmare swaps when someone physically clicks on you, or excuse me, clicks on you for a physical attack.
Right click.
Which I thought it was when the right click hit you.
Nope.
But now I realize it's just when the right click happens, because I thought I set up a really sick play by trying to hit my auto attack so it would land right at the end of the Nightmare.
Yeah, I remember that one.
But it seems that magical attacks magical attacks do not swap it. It just cancels the Nightmare.
Yep, if you take player-based damage, I believe, then Nightmare ends. And but you can also take Nightmare from your allies and from enemies as well, just by right-clicking. I think allies you might have to do an A left click, but yeah, that's one way to stop it. So I've just kind of been letting stuff play. I would say, obviously this wasn't very roam heavy. It was basically like you're supporting the safe lane, and you're against 2 super tanky guys in the Spirit Breaker Centaur. But I think that if you had Brain Sap right away and you just traded with them a little bit better, then it would have been okay. Like you could have sustained. Like your hero was all right at trading without Brain Sap, but if you had it, it would have been completely different. Because right when you're about to die, you can Brain Sap and then run.
Yeah, like spots like this, I was like, oh yeah, I guess I'm actually okay. But Spirit Breaker comes in out of nowhere and wrecks shit a few times.
Yeah, it definitely happens.
Overall, though, I felt like, the Brain Sap comment super resonates. I was getting the Nightmare because, again, it's just a build that I have seen. I watched a few games of Bane. I looked at the build and I saw several people getting Nightmare first, and I did see a game where someone got Brainsat first. But I mean, literally, as a new hero, I'm like, law of averages. Overall, let's just get Nightmare since we know what we're doing. But it makes sense in the context of trading.
This is definitely one hero where you never skill your skill point until you need it, because in almost all cases you're going to grab Brainsat. But there will be times where you're like, oh shit, they smoked and I'm getting ganked and I need to Nightmare them to prevent me getting first blood, feeding first blood. Yeah. So that's maybe the only case I'd get it other than Morana Arrow. So just skip it most of the time.
Got it. Copy.
Most of these clips, I have like long periods of the laning stage, just because roaming is a lot about like what you're choosing to do during the lane.
Yeah.
I don't remember why I started this clip here. You know what I think happened is I tried to record another clip, but I pressed stop when I meant to press start or something like that. I don't remember. It doesn't matter that much. So what I want to look at is where you ended up going after you died, basically. So you're dying, and roaming is basically what you're deciding to do. So you're TPing to the shrine here, and what was your goal by coming up here? Do you remember by any chance?
I was trying to primarily help top lane. And then I think I decided that maybe Necrophos would be reasonable.
The mid lane, you mean? By that, you mean Necro?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. I think you could gank with Nightstalker as well, because he's a very strong laning hero, especially during nighttime. But I like the Necro idea better. Because what you could have done this game basically is look at the map and say it's a Shadow Fiend versus a Necro. Shadow Fiend has really high damage with raises, but the guy he has to basically set them up, and you did set that up nicely eventually. So I did like what you did here. Walked to the mid lane, went to a position that he's not going to see coming. You could have gone earlier though. The Necro was spotted right here. I don't know why your camera's looking at your hero. There's literally no reason for you to do that. You should be looking at where you're about to gank and looking for opportunities to go in. So you did a bad job gathering information here, because you're looking at the bot lane. That shit doesn't matter. You should be looking mid. Boom, you see this guy? You should have been walking right here. As soon as he pops out, you know where he is. You walk down, you cut him off of your Nightmare.
I totally whiffed it.
Ultimately, I think you still got it, but took a little bit longer. And now his HP's kind of low enough where... Alright, this is another kill. Okay, you... Ooh, what is this clicking? You should have gone in right there. I think you just misclicked.
I clicked, but I was too far into the tree, so I had to do a roundabout-y-roo.
Your Shadow Fiend had probably the best raises I've ever seen. But ultimately, it was great. Maybe took a little bit longer than it should have.
Wait, what do you mean by probably has the best raises I've ever seen?
That was actually the worst raises I've seen in my whole life. This is a not moving target. Did he hit any of his raises? I don't think he did.
I think he hit 0 to 1.
I think he got 1. This one, it's really hard to miss raises. Okay, he got the close range raise. That, like, they were so off. They were actually so far off.
J9 TV with the boom.
Yeah, you got the kill, which is good.
So sick. Hey, and I have a mug, which means we can do the Bane boys. Batman. Yeah, so easy, man. Get any mug. It doesn't matter.
You're missing HP. Use tangos right away. It enhances your ability to roam. There was a lot of times like this where you'd kind of like... You do something successful, but then you go back into old patterns, which was like sitting by your allies, sitting mid. Like, you don't really need to be here. You could have gotten this Necro kill, started eating tangos, and stayed in this area. Because the CMR is eventually going to fill you back up. Or you could have...
I'm confused, because I thought that's what I did. I thought, like, after this kill, I stayed here in order to sap XP, because he was going to the thing.
Okay, well, you're walking left right now. Just let's look at your path.
Yeah, so he got whacked, so I came here to ensure that he was in good shape, and I was trying to give him a tango, so I gave him a tango. Okay. And then I ate a tango, and then he went to do that, and I was like, okay, I'll stay here vaguely far away.
I guess it's okay. I don't know if the shrine was up or not. I guess it was okay what you did.
Yeah, well, the shrine, since it's before 5 minutes in the game, I don't think it was up.
It just feels kind of ineffective. Like, the creep wave wasn't really liable to die anytime soon because theirs were on the high ground, so I don't think you got more than like 1 creep, 2 creeps maybe of experience by the time that stuff got back, and instead you could have possibly walked all the way to the top lane this time, like easily, because it's been at least like...
I see. Yeah, if the... I'm trying to lean forward. Oh, I'm sorry, that says 7:45. Yeah, so if he is intending on going to Shrine, refilling, and coming back, soaking XP is good, assuming you soak a lot of XP. If I'm just
Yeah.
soaking 1 to 2 creep kills, I need to get the hell out of there.
Or if you don't
Got
have
it. That makes
something,
so much sense.
or if you don't
Okay.
have something better to do, because I mean, it's been like 30 seconds since you got that kill. You could have popped both tangos by now and been somewhere towards the top lane by where Night Stalker is. And you plus Night Stalker is a pretty likely kill because he's got really low cooldown, decent damage nukes that will make fun or make good use of your right clicks.
It will make fun of my right clicks.
Make a lot of fun of it. Bane does have little weird right clicks. This is something you messed up a lot this game. Was you did nightmare him, which is good, but another trick that you can do. Do you see why how he has no HP bar right now?
Yeah,
That's
he's invulnerable.
Yeah, because you're invulnerable for a second. There's a lot of times where you didn't use that defensively, either on yourself or others that you could have.
I used it several times right at the start of the game, and elected to. Yeah, I mean, I do know that you can use it defensively, and I tried to use it several times. And once I did it, and Spirit Breaker just hit me, got nightmared, and then Anti-Mage hit him and got nightmared, and then Centaur Warrunner killed me, and I was like, well, don't I feel like an idiot?
Yeah, and I think you also could have stayed around maybe. I mean, you were very low, but this is the benefit of Bane, is that if you use Brain Sap, you're going to be back in fighting shape, because this is like 180 swing, which puts you at half HP. Like, it's definitely dangerous, but at this point right here, as soon as I see the CM, I'm right-clicking right here on the ground. Because this guy's going to be disabled under tower. And you could have probably brain-sapped him, like, nowish if the Night Stalker hadn't showed up. So I maybe would have stuck around. In worst case, the SB charges you from the side, but I don't think he kills you either. Unless he gets lucky and gets a bash after the charge. So I felt like this last, like, basically minute of time was pretty ineffective. You basically nightmared the Spirit Breaker, and that's it. And he charged you. You didn't really accomplish that much.
Really? Wow. I thought that was an awesome moment in the game. That's really interesting to hear you say it wasn't. I thought it was like such a kick-ass badass for making that play.
That was the best thing you did, though. And other than that, you didn't really do anything else other than walking, eating a tango, giving one to the Shadow Fiend. You set up like 2 creeps of experience. For a minute of time, I think that's a little weak, kind of. Like, if what I'd prefer you to do is impact a gank somewhere, if possible, or to just pull so you can get your 6 faster. Because that was a minute of time where you didn't really accelerate that much. Like, you're not even that far past 4. This was good. This was definitely an improvement. Saw you learn from before.
For once. Woo!
But again, the principle for the small creeps is as soon as the first one dies, you got to move to set up for the next. And instead, you kind of hung around for a while. And these ones.
I thought it was 2/3. Okay.
I mean, that's the moment you pull. It's basically like 1 full creep and 1 that has just a little bit of HP is when you initiate the aggro here, aka finish the right click. So you should have been right-clicking like 2 seconds ago. I think you ended up
I find this timing really hard. I practiced this in 1VAI, and I just found it tough to hit. I don't feel yet like I have the right timing.
Okay. The best way to do it is just go into a custom lobby and put sheets on and have the spawn neutrals command ready to go. It's just dash spawn space neutrals, I think, or maybe one word.
Oh, really?
And then every single wave that comes by, you can practice pulling again, no matter what. That way you can ensure that you get a lot of repetition down. This one as well, you should have just pulled a little bit to the left. Like, they were about to right-click you, so as soon as they start their animation, you should have walked this way, and your AoE of aggro might have caught them. But instead you stood still.
I have only recently been doing this let them attack me thing, so I still don't have a good feel for like how far away it is. I was hoping it was just right in there.
Ultimately, though, like, your next couple of minutes were okay. Like, you're kind of laning and stuff, but you didn't really. I would say your early game was bad, but your mid and late game was really good, I think. Like, you have decent KDA, but it wasn't like really good, I think.
Yeah, I consistently struggle with the early game with 4-5 rolls. I really struggle with knowing when and where to be in order to influence things properly. Because this particular game, my mindset was, okay, well. So I switched my plan to choose Bane, which I think was correct because Bounty Hunter versus this team seemed really rough, specifically the Spirit Breaker, because he just sees me, charges me, and then I die.
Yep.
And then we had an Anti-Mage bottom, and I thought, okay, I need to babysit Anti-Mage super hard. I need to zone as hard as I can with the CM to make sure Anti-Mage can get sufficient farm to kick ass.
But that part was kind of already lost, I think, right off the bat. It's kind of what happened. Like, AIM's gonna have a hard time no matter what, and if you have a bad, like, you can be in your lane and you can try to zone these guys or continue pulling or give them some coverage, but I think you should have done that maybe even a minute earlier. Like, there wasn't enough focus. Like you kind of did this like you keep doing this like halfway point between laning and then you start roaming, but your roaming isn't efficient, therefore you waste a lot of time. Therefore, they already have like enough advantage that you going there later while being low mana, no items, it's just not that effective. Like, yeah, you're nearby, yeah, you can nightmare them if shit really hits the fan, but that doesn't mean you're winning the game. You're kind of just like making sure the anti-mage doesn't die, which doesn't necessarily give him good farm or impact the game.
So I think this is where I get totally confused, because I thought I was very focused on anti-mage for the early part of the game until he seemed safe. I almost don't understand what you mean when you say I'm kind of half committing, because I was like nonstop trying to be there by anti-mage in the early game.
You were there for like 6 minutes here, but then you ended up TPing. Because we're at 650 right now.
Yeah.
And then you don't get back to the safe lane for like, I don't know, a minute and a half or something.
But okay, so my thought process here is that I was there to try to make sure anti-mage was okay and safe, and then once I saw, Spirit Breaker elsewhere, or I felt like anti-mage was okay, I just said, okay, now I am allowed to roam. That was my thought process. So I'd love to know like what's going wrong there.
Mostly my criticism is that your roaming was inefficient. You didn't accomplish that much. Nobody died. You didn't really, except for the roam on the necro part was good. That was good,
Yeah.
but you needed to instantly change gears to go back to being efficient, and you didn't do that. You kind of wasted like a minute or so there. So by the time, I think the start of this clip, we're at 250 right now, but the start of this clip was about 6 minutes. So you TP'd to top lane a little bit before 7.
Right.
And now it's like 9 minutes. And this is when you got back. So that's like 3 minutes or 2 minutes.
Yeah. During that period of time, that totally makes sense to me. What about 0 to 6:30, where I was pretty much constantly TPing to bottom lane? I mean, outside of my incorrect, skill opening and accidentally dying 2 times.
Well, let's take a look.
Let's look.
Is there a way to speed it up past? Oh, yeah, there we go. Different buttons.
It is right bracket.
I mean, basically, we're at 2 minutes already, and you're still not level 2, which is kind of weird. This was a big mistake, because that was always going to aggro to that range creep, so you just helped him there.
Yeah, I think that the big thing for me is, okay, so early game, I thought that my number one goal was zone the offlaner. So I was trying to sit at the left and trying to whack at these guys as much as humanly possible, which was the main reason why I wasn't level 2. And I have no idea how I would possibly change that.
The skill build would change a lot, because you could actually fight them better.
Yeah, that would help.
The centaur kill here was very good. So you're getting some kills and stuff, and you're doing some pulls. This one was effective. I think this one worked. Oh no, centaur messed it up.
Nice work, centaur.
Like, things like this are really detrimental. I think you should have nightmared the centaur here. Was the big mistake that you made. It's kind of hard to know sometimes, but the guy that's going to follow up the disables is going to be the centaur. Unfortunately, the charge came through the same time. So almost always you're going to want to nightmare the centaur offensively before he gets his stomp combo off.
Right. That makes sense.
So you did okay, but look at your stats, for example. You're 1-1, you have 0 last hits. So you've basically just been grabbing experience from the lane. You've kind of been keeping them busy, but you still died once.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is what I would love in the live coaching, is being able to see and feel this, because I keep thinking to myself, okay, what's my number one job? Zone the offlaner. The offlaner's right there. Let's zone him. Mm-hmm. The creep wave is a little far forward. Okay, so I'm going to stack pull. Or not stack pull. No, stack pull to the hard camp, because that's far enough forward. Mm-hmm. And then I hit a point where when I'm just doing those 2 things, I'm like level 1.
Yeah.
And I'm level 2. And when you say that's bad, I go, okay, well, yeah, no, level 1 that deep into the game sounds bad. Sure, I accept that. But it's completely unclear to me what I would possibly do literally differently, other than diverging from zone the offlaner and don't do those stack pulls. Maybe I should be abandoning the zoning and doing pull-throughs sooner?
Yeah, yep, that would be a good option. If they're difficult to zone, you could handle that. I think if I went Nightmare first, I'd maybe try to do that, perhaps. Although you trading regen with them would help allow the anti-mage to get more last hits, so maybe what you did was okay. But, for example, the end of the clip here is at about 3 minutes, and look at your experience level, you're right before level 3. And the next clip that I took We're 6 minutes in the game, and you have like half of a level extra.
Yeah.
And that we just lost 3 minutes there, which is probably you moving around, grabbing bounty runes. I think you've also died one more time and gotten 1 assist is what the difference was.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing for me is knowing that that's bad doesn't help me. Knowing that it's bad, and if I had done A and B and C differently, you would now be in this new, better situation. That helps me.
That's true. Yeah,
So-
just saying it's bad is not very constructive. So there's a lot of things like missing pulls. I'm sure there were times that you could have done pull throughs here in the
I
last
think I
3
did
minutes.
0 pull-throughs with Bane in this game because I was so focused on making sure to zone the off lane.
Yeah, and bounty runes as well. I think, especially in the bounty games, you definitely focused a lot on grabbing bounty runes. But
Hell
those are almost always something that you just kind of fit into the other things that you're doing, more or less.
Yeah.
And because your first 6 minutes were weak, their early game was better, which made it harder for you just to do normal things. But once you got closer to 6, the game kind of improved a lot. I felt like, let's accelerate this one a little bit here. So this is where you
I
TP'd.
feel that so much more once I get level 6 and I start wandering around and just gripping people for 5 seconds.
It's just a lot more straightforward, right? This was after the Necro kill. At some point here, we're going to see SB charge again and you Nightmare him. And accelerated. Then you go heal. People are dying. I'm just going to jump forward just a little bit here. So you TP to the safe lane, you resume pulling. Your pull through missed, which is going to cost you at least like, I don't know, half level or something. Because if you do the pull through, then you guys could probably focus on the Ancients maybe. Or the jungle stack. Maybe not though. Maybe they just kill all the creeps.
Yeah.
But every time you miss stuff like that, it's super impactful. And if you just pull like 3 more times early game, you'd probably be closer to 6. You'd be at least level 5.
Yeah, I have never had a game where I've successfully pulled through 3 or 4 times in a row. So I think without feeling how good that is, it's causing a lot of my misjudgments.
I see.
Because I mean, I'm like low level in all my games. Support, man. I'm like fucking dumpstering it. I'm like Baltic and Mediterranean Avenue of
Dude,
income here, man.
Those are great properties.
Those are high value. I buy them every game.
I do too. That's my favorite strat. Too bad Monopoly is bad in other ways, but
That's right. That's a total gamble fest, man.
yeah. You did this a lot as well. You were constantly pretty much always behind, and you're always trying to like catch up with like tomes, and you're like, hey, I'm losing. Let's just get a wand so I get some efficiency. But then that would kind of limit you in other ways where you wouldn't catch up as much.
Yep, literally my thought process, 100%.
This clip is completely out of order.
Woohoo!
I guess
Kill
this was
this guy. Death to this nerd.
This is the other kill that you got in that time period. So it was good. So it seemed kind of like your laning focus was basically like hang around and sometimes get kills. I'd also like to point out we are exactly 420 into the game right here. And if we go to the clip that we just showed that was later, you literally have gained 1 bounty rune of experience in 2 minutes.
So clear. Woo!
In 2 minutes.
Yes.
So when little like no experience change happens like that, there's you fucked up something.
Yeah, something's not right. We don't know what it is, but it's definitely something.
You got your level 6 here at about 1250, which is not awful. This guy should have silenced or slowed before silencing, I think. And maybe should have moved a little bit farther forward so that your brain sap would be instant after the grip. Might have made a difference. But pretty much from here on, you played really well, I think. I was content.
I'm very glad to hear you say that because I really felt not good in the early game. Because I mean, it's one of those things where I'm increasingly. The problem is not that I have no clue what to do. Mm-hmm. That I felt like one of my older problems. It's just like I don't know, I just wander around and. Now it's I don't know how to evaluate among all the choices that I do have.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like choice overload for sure.
Yes, Hundo Placento. Is it bounty hunter time?
I think we can move. Let's watch like 2 more. I don't have too many like. UTP to the safe lane. Because after you had grip on cooldown, you did a decent job pressuring. I kind of liked you accomplishing this.
Can you switch your camera to the clip?
Oh yeah, my bad.
Oh yeah. Woohoo!
More tech issues. So there was definitely decent impact, but basically you should just play around Fiend's Grip. I would even bring yourself things like smokes. That way, if Grip is about to be off cooldown in 5 seconds, you should already be like literally about to walk in and grip somebody. A little bit
Yeah.
of planning ahead around that cooldown is really beneficial, I think. This is great.
So I just gripped him because we were in range of the tower, and I knew the tower would deal a shitload of damage.
Yep, that's perfect. Yeah, you did a lot of good stuff like that. Never nightmare somebody that's being focused by your team. This was very throwy here.
Today I learned.
I really hate it when people do this. It is like the most annoying thing. You're like, we're just going to buy their team 4 seconds to react and back up their teammate. Is basically what it does.
Yeah, no, it felt like that. That's exactly the emotions in my body. It was like everything was wrong there.
Yeah. Sometimes it's useful, like you can use it on like Abaddon when they ulti, or maybe if you don't have magic damage or something, it can be good. But yeah, just you played fairly well, I would say. Yeah, we can probably move on. Let us go to the Bounty Hunter. Let's go watch some deaths.
So thrilled about the BH.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So you started the game Bounty. Your choice was to harass the Wind Ranger. Talk me through that.
So the mid was Magnus.
Versus Sniper.
Yeah, and the bottom was Slark and Earthshaker. And I was just looking for a sufficiently squishy target.
Okay.
So I thought that Wind Ranger was squishy, and I suppose Slark is also squishy as well before 6. So I just went to harass one of those two, and plus I know that Luna. So here was my choice. I felt like, okay, I'm not going to harass the Magnus because he, I think, is too tanky early game. Do I want to go top lane or bottom lane? And then I said, I'm going to go top lane because Wind Ranger is probably going to be solo and squishy, yeah. And that was the largest part of it. And also I thought to myself, shit, what was the other thought that I had? I had another thought that I wanted to add onto the pile. Oh yeah, Luna feels really weak early game, so I wanted to help her out.
Yeah, she can be. I think what really hurt you this game was your choice to go on the Wind Ranger over other heroes. Magnus is tanky early, and he usually has a stout shield, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't hit him. Because you've still got 6 armor, you still have an Orb of Venom. You also have to be worried about him skewering you into his tower, but I think it's something that you can play around. And Sniper actually isn't that good at last hitting at level 1 because his base damage is like 40 or something. It's really bad. And once he gets like 2 points in shrapnel and a headshot, or even 1 point shrapnel and a headshot, you can actually super bully the Magnus. Like, yeah, what you need to do this game was just throw yourself in mid lane and just wreck the guy's regen, I think, because your Sniper would have had a much better game as a result. Maybe hitting the Wind Ranger at the start was fine because you did do a lot of damage, but as soon as the Earthshaker TP's top, I would just leave, like go somewhere else.
Yeah, I felt my inability to do stuff. Didn't help me make a decision as to what to do next, but you know.
Like this was good too. Your first harass, that was good, but that's what you should be doing. You should be trading your regen and your time for their HP. Obviously, missing the courier snipe was very tragic both times.
So painful.
And make sure that you're just invis when you do things like that. Like you actually you didn't go invisible enough this game, not even close. Like I couldn't even tell that bounty hunters have mana problems because you didn't use invis ever. Like if you're just walking across the map, you got to use it because they might have a ward.
I super underutilized it, so I confused how it worked with the Ricky ability, and I didn't realize it was such a short cooldown. And then after I realized that, this is kind of what I mean by, like, anytime I play a new hero, I kind of want to ask myself, like, what are some basic ways to use this? Spam invisibility. Totally great. Very useful to hear. Those sorts of things.
And the same thing like this, if you're approaching a lane that nobody knew you were coming to, and you just walk up not invisible, instantly they're going to react, right? But if you're invis, they may do something stupid. They may walk more out of position. Maybe he fights the tide right here instead of running instantly because he's seeing you walk in right now. And you got a double hit of the invis, but who cares? You have so much mana. All of this mana is literally for you casting this one ability. So you might as well just use it to try to get a kill. And that Anchor Smash might have landed. And if it did, this guy probably dies actually. Because there's the next Anchor Smash. Another Anchor Smash, he would have been one hit from dying. And he would have been more out of position because he doesn't see you coming. So there were so many times where you would reveal where you were on the map.
Yeah, definitely. And then I think I accidentally hit
the Slark, right?
Too late. Or I went E and then hit too late, and it just turned off my invisibility. So it's kind of like a little.
And little deaths like this really add up because then it delays your boots, which means your ability to pressure later is harder and things like that.
Oh yeah.
But you pretty much ignored the mid lane. We're 4 minutes in, you just never went there. And at this point,
Yeah,
it's kind of tough.
totally.
And I could see you really realizing that, like, at some point, your hero's really not strong. Level 1, you trade amazing, but, like, once everybody gets a couple levels and items on you, your hero has to pretty much aim for supports or nothing else. So this game was kind of hard like that, because none of their heroes are super squishy. It's basically, like, Wind Ranger kind of,
I
Necro
think
kind
I'm
of.
really unfamiliar with the entire space of who's better than who at level 1. I'm very comfortable with the, once you get to mid and late game, all the supports are weaker than all the cores. Like those are just really big general principles. But the idea of like, I'm Ricky, I'm better than so-and-so at level 1. Yeah, this pathing thing made me want to die. I wanted to actually die. Like at this point, if a meteor came and destroyed my entire apartment complex, including me, I'd have been fine.
Yeah, that was the tough one. You can also do stuff like put a ward down in between the tower. That way you can see when the courier's coming. That might help a little. But yeah, the pathing looked frustrating. But you also, either way, you canceled your attack. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, totally did.
Oops. So now you're walking in the top lane. This is not really the right angle to be at, for example. You're just kind of wasting a lot of time. This is pretty much your biggest problem in this game. Just pretty consistently wasting time. Like if you're over here, put the ward on the cliff. That way you can see where they are. Maybe you dive them after your team pushes in, for example. Like this guy's at half HP. Walking around this way, there's really no reason for you to do that, because then you're going to have to run past the tower true sight just to be able to initiate. So it's like there's another 15-20 seconds wasted where you could have been maybe scouting mid or looking to hit the Magnus a little bit, or like you finally put this down, but that's already been like, that was like 5:30 or something like that.
Some amount of seconds.
Like you just wasted minimum 15 seconds, which is a huge amount. And that's why you're getting behind on levels. Same kind of thing. You're spotting heroes, but you don't really feel good trading. So you're like, well, wait 20 seconds for a bounty rune, which is kind of inefficient, moderately inefficient. And then you're just kind of playing from behind all game as a result. Looking to do anything, kind of. Against Magnus, it's best to stay in the front. That way he skewers you with him, by the way. Then you go along for the ride and you get an extra hit.
Woo!
So this was kind of just your big mistakes. This game was just a lot of inefficient movement. Still level 2 at 8 minutes.
Yeah, no, I mean like this game felt the most just all around like I had missed out on something but wasn't sure what. And the idea of just like, yeah, just harass Magnus in mid. And there's the idea of being inefficient. I think that like in the live coaching game, I would love a bounty hunter live coach game.
Yeah, I think
like
that would be good. You're not going to have ideally any inefficiencies in that because you're always going to be effective. Just need to direct your movements, and that's pretty much like you played the hero fine. I think you definitely had some mechanics errors, but it wasn't anything like super bad. You kind of like it was mostly just decision making. Where do I stand on the map? Where am I choosing to harass people? Stuff like that.
Yeah, and also I got 2 points in invisibility. I should have gotten Shuriken Toss. It's my third.
This is actually okay if you want. It kind of makes your mana problems less because it lasts for 5 more seconds, and the fade time is still good enough that you can double hit, and the damage doubles. So it goes from doing 60 damage with a double hit to 120 physical, which is kind of okay. This was actually the old build that bounties would always go, but it's kind of up to you what you want to do. Shuriken level 1 I think does like 150 damage or something, so
yeah,
it's kind of your option, but I think if I'm this behind, I'd probably get it, maybe, but I don't know if buying Windlace before Arcanes is worth it. It's kind of expensive for what it gives you, 250 gold for 20 movement speed. That's like a third of the money it takes to get your Arcane boots, so I'd almost rather just finish that first. And this game, like the next one, you always got Wand here as well, which further delays the item. That basically means that you can go invis all the time.
Yeah. Super yep.
Okay, so let's take a look at... This is a small error where you basically didn't understand how strong you were relatively to the game. You went on a Slark. He's not really killable at this point. Should have been looking for the backline. You're looking for like easy targets who are weak. You gotta like do cheap shots pretty much.
Yeah.
This is where you finally got a kill. You should have tracked at the start.
Whenever
you're initiating, hit, track, Shuriken almost always is the order. Because you need track. If he has a Shadow Blade or might blink away or something, it's way more important. Either way, you did end up getting a kill. So that part was fine. The other problem was just kind of the way that you're team fighting and stuff.
This just took some time to get used to. I mean, eventually I was just throwing down lots of tracks, but I really feel like I can't do much of anything during team fights other than track and occasionally Shuriken Toss.
Yep, that's Bounty Hunter.
Woo!
The
Figuring it
difference is that you can buy items that do something. Ideally, is the big goal. Did you see how they bounce? I assume you paid attention to that.
What do you mean? Do I see how they bounce?
Right about here. Okay. Oops. A little bit too early. All right, you run in, gonna go toss. See? Hits both.
Yeah, you mean the Luna illusions?
Nope, that was you. Your Shuriken will bounce from to every hero once that is tracked within 1,200 units. It's like a Chain Frost or...
no, yeah. Sorry, I thought you were trying to highlight the bounce of Luna. I was like, no, I know how glaives work. Yes, okay. I have got glaives on lockdown.
So basically your purpose is just to put track on everybody to ensure that you maximize your Shuriken damage, is your goal. And you kind of recast the track a little bit too much. It lasts for 30 seconds. With that said, there's ways to remove it, but like right here, you could attract the Magnus in time or things like that. Yeah. When somebody uses that, does a soft dispel, so that actually would remove tracks. You need to retrack him here. You casted Shuriken, but you didn't track him in time, so you lost 150 gold for that. There's like little things like that that added up consistently. This was you, I think, shopping or talent tree or something.
I think I was just running away and he just got me. After my tight kill.
And the other problem, this was kind of consistent, that you would get into old habits, which was stand near my team and track people. But your positioning was a little bit bad. And I think that was more of just you having a lot of deaths and being worried to be aggressive on the other side of the map. But the place that I would be right now, if my team's going to push up mid, where I would want to be is somewhere tangentially on the side. Like kind of like when we did high ground, where you'd stand on the side to initiate. You want to be over here kind of looking for heroes, getting tracks off and running away afterwards. That way... You can always see them.
Really? That's worth it? I mean, like, for me, it was less a bad habit thing and me thinking, man, if I'm far forward and I track, all I can do is run away. I can't get a kill, so that doesn't seem very useful.
But everybody expects to be here. If you're, like, over here by the cliff or over here in the trees, you can get a track off. You could stand right here, track this guy, they have no idea where you are. Because they don't see you when you track them. They just see the icon.
I thought they saw the full... like animation of like the red line going to them with the track above their head.
They don't see this red thing on the ground. All they see is like a track icon that just appears. That's it. Very simple. So if you're not paying attention, you don't see. So you should just always be kind of like ghosting to the side, breaking invis to track somebody, going invis and running away. So if they don't have mobility, you should have track on like a lot of these guys. But consistently, you're always sitting towards the back, which doesn't really give you good initiation options, because this is where they're all going to have sentry wards and be looking for you. They're not going to expect you to run from the back here and then initiate here and toss a Shuriken to bounce to 4 heroes or something. Like, that guy could have been tracked. You retrack this same guy that you had already tracked once.
Yeah.
Lots of little things like that that really added up execution-wise in team fights. So the way you team fought was pretty sloppy, I would say, on this hero. But it seemed like you kind of know what you're doing. It's just you're not quite playing it correctly. I was very happy. The third game was really happy to see you got a first blood. That was really solid. And the double hit here, you probably wouldn't have gotten the kill if you didn't do that. That was great.
Yeah, it felt tight. And then I began to scream at the top of my lungs right here. That felt fun as well.
I'm positive for the first time in 50 minutes. And this was kind of the place where you kind of went wrong. You got the first blood, you went back out your boots because you're out of HP. I thought that was a good choice. You went top, and now you're kind of at this dilemma, right? It's a Chaos Knight, lots of HP, decent armor, Ogre, disgusting armor HP. Yeah. Like, you can't hit those guys, and you realize that, I think. So you don't want to bother, and then you're looking around like, hey, where should I go? Did you ever happen to look who their 5th hero was?
Wait, what do you mean you named 2 heroes?
Well, you just came to this lane, and it's a dual lane, right?
Yeah.
Chaos Knight Ogre. All right, which hero is missing on the map?
CM.
Yep, which is exactly where you should have been.
Shit, she's fucking jungling. I don't know. Popped into my mind for a moment as well.
Mm-hmm. But if you just looked at that right away, I think going top was okay. Check to see if the CM's there. She's not. Okay, she's jungling. Then I would have probably walked to the right with Invis, try to find her, steal her last hits, or get kills on her. Would have been good. And then you made a huge mistake with the DD. This is a giant opportunity for you because it's huge damage increase.
Yeah.
But he sees you right now. Like, you basically walked past his vision, showing that you had a DD. And then you're like, all right, when the moment's ready, I'm going to pop Invis and go in. But he already knew, he probably already saw that you were here, which was a pretty big mistake. And I think that's why he's sitting over here.
I think ideally I invis early, get to him with invis left,
Yes.
and then go hit, re-invis, hit, keep chasing, hit. So I get
Exactly.
3 total crits off.
Mm-hmm. Where instead you got something like that. You also messed up your attack moving as well. Right here. You canceled. You attacked again. So you actually only hit him twice here with your DD,
Yeah.
which was pretty sloppy because that could have been... You probably could have gotten 4 hits on this guy if you really attacked a move well and you didn't have to worry about tower hits.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, with double damage figured into that, you actually just screwed yourself because you lost all your HP, which means that now you're not effective for another minute because you have to heal. And pop tangos and clarities and all that stuff. So I would have taken the DD and maybe rush to hit him a little faster to maximize the DD, or ideally look for the CM. That should be a big thing when you're playing bounty, is that you're always looking for those squishy jungle heroes. Kind of the same thing here. You're like hanging out, thinking about going in mid, but you're not invis. So if they have a ward in the area, they probably see you. This time you're like, I'm gonna go get the bounty rune, but you're walking up a cliff right now. There could be heroes standing there. That's pretty dangerous. You should have been invis there, especially because your clarity's going and your mana's full. So this is actually not doing anything for you right now.
Yeah, I was really trying to be super conservative with my mana this game.
Yeah.
And I think I need to simply not, because kills and courier snipes and all that stuff are so much more important, and then I can just go
damage.
home anyways. Yeah.
And it's a lot about the damage. A lot of this game was about you harassing effectively to give your team a lane advantage. As soon as these get revealed, I would just tango personally. Or you could hit him tango, maybe. At least after you break invis.
One of them, I think.
Did, but you were late, and you did it after the... You also fought this guy to the death, which was a big mistake. Because he had damage sapped already from the Zeus. So
yeah.
You had to
Get
play
him,
more
Zeus.
safe. And this is kind of the point where he's a little bit stronger than you, so you have to kind of update your lane. Whenever you TP in, pop invis right after because you still have fountain regen.
Yeah.
You missed that consistently. You did this again. You walked next to creep wave where they saw you. Like 100% he knows you're here. He didn't necessarily know that you TP'd back into lane, but you revealed it to him. And even the place that you chose to TP was sloppy. Oops, this is too far back.
Yep. No, it's just totally showing.
You TP right here. His ward is literally still looking at you. You could have instead TP'd a little bit to the southeast, which would have been in trees. He wouldn't have seen that you TP'd in.
Right.
So you gotta limit the information. This is why he's gone now. He's like, oh, the bounty was just here. Saw him TP in. Those opportunities will they'll just kind of fall into your lap a lot of time. If you're just smart about knowing when you're showing your opponent where you are, like sometimes you're just gonna get a free kill because somebody's gonna walk up with like 200 HP and you get an easy kill. Those are the big ones to get. This game you definitely pressured Band really well, I think. It's definitely hard to pressure Magnus, but I think it could have been a little bit more towards this. This is pretty good. I would have liked if you hit him right away, though. Because with Disruptor, that
Got
could
a little scared, yeah.
get him a little closer. The only thing you have to be worried about is... That is one thing. You got hit by Unstable Current, which is a Purge, so it removed the haste from yourself. It's one thing you have to be careful about with Razor. But as a whole, it was okay. I was thinking like, hey, he's being obnoxious right now. You're doing your job. So I'm sure that guy really wanted the haste. The Courier Snipe was really good. Remember this, I believe.
Yeah, I had to work my way up onto high ground, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to courier here. Okay.
You reacted too slow to this is the only criticism. Because you walked up visible, and as soon as you see that guy, you should have changed your movement. Or been a little worried about it. I like that you checked for detection. That was good.
Yeah. An attack moved in a way that really violates the laws of physics. I think I actually maybe should have just not TP'd there.
Or
Run
invis.
behind trees, yeah.
Or juke until you had enough mana to wand, invis, and TP. You can do that as well. So this was your first really good fight, I think. And I don't believe you're 6 at the time. But I think your level's much better here. You're, what, 5.5 at 11 minutes? It's decent. Your team does have a gold advantage. Oh, I remember this now. So, at this point, you're basically, like, ready to party, right? Like, everybody's got some damage on them.
Yeah.
You should be looking to get a kill. As soon as the Zeus ult comes as well, this is a gimme. But you cancel your animation.
Fuck, I was trying so hard not to do that, man. So hard. I was trying to hit and,
Yeah, and that costs
Well,
you that
at least
kill.
the goal was an animation cancel.
And you got him pretty low, obviously, but I mean, he's hitting really hard right now. So that's pretty tough, because if you would have killed him right there, he probably would have died about here. You would have hit 6. You might have gotten track kill on the Chaos Knight as well. Which is basically like a 500 gold swing almost, I'm sure.
Yeah.
One thing
Dude, I'm so ready for live coaching. I mean, I need to use the restroom, but I'm like so ready. We're not even into the final stretch, man.
It's going to be good. I maybe would have liked you to run left, grab Arcanes. It's just like, there's so many small efficiency things, honestly, I could point out. Tons of little things.
What would make it better to run left instead of running here?
It's farther away. You could get to the Arcanes faster, keep the tracks up more rapidly, things like that.
I think I'm playing too timidly. I think that this is historically what I always struggle with, is that I feel too timid, and this is an exception where I just like I said out loud on the stream, holy shit, I had no idea he dealt that much damage.
He had a DD. I couldn't tell either, actually, because of his skin being blue and stuff, but it was very difficult to tell. Actually.
Oh, really? I did not realize he had a DD.
You clicked on him right when you died. You were like, oh shit, it's right there. He had a DD. So I didn't expect you to die that fast either. In your defense.
Well, that's good. That's good, because I know how Night Stalker works, and I was like, there's something fucking crazy going on here. There's no way, unless... And part of me was like, I guess I'm wrong. I guess he just deals more damage than I thought. But yeah, I always have all these psychologies about how weak support players are.
Yeah, got to assess all the time. There's another case where you weren't invis when you ran high ground. The ward spotted you. That's why he reacted like this. I
felt like I had infinite mana, except when I was track spamming. So I just definitely have way too much timidness with using that.
It's basically all about arcanes. Once you have arcanes, you are set. Especially if you have mech, maybe you might have some mana problems, but that's about it. Same thing here. Track before you toss every time. The reason this is especially important here is because for this whole time that he ran from here to here, your whole team could have been running 16% movement speed faster.
Of course.
So you just tracked him now.
Makes total sense.
But you lose all that time. And then he has to haunt to get that kill. I mean, ultimately this works out okay. Always track the guy that's likely to die first. That's always going to be CM. Especially when he uses Glimmer. To me, I was like, oh god, he's going to go invis and he's not going to track him in time. You guys got the kill and it was fine because of the Zeus Bolt. But if it's a CM and she's using Glimmer and she's at half HP, you track that. That's gold.
I think this was a misclick because I was just trying to click on the closest person.
They were clumped for sure. Made it a little hard.
But the point's still well taken.
And maybe if you tracked the CM,
gonna kill first,
you guys would have ran faster, which would have gotten you closer to the Razor kill maybe.
That's a good point, yeah.
I think this is the last clip I have. This is kind of just reflecting of how you consistently were team fighting, or like basically pushing with your team. Hanging out in your team, not casting tracks always when there was an opportunity, because you could have casted on those guys. Like, if they're in cast range, you should just throw it out. There's no reason not to. Like right here, cast dude on Ogre. Like, look at your position right now. Like, you are in no way going to be able to help this Tidehunter. You can't get tracks on heroes. You can't accelerate your team's ability to win the fight. And finally, when you did get here, you're a little bit too late, unfortunately. So you got no track gold. So you should just be, especially when you're winning a fight like this, 2 dead heroes, you should just be pumping them tracks out. Be like, time to collect.
Right.
Like this, basically. Oh, that was unfortunate. You'll have to retrack her. Oh no, it was an offensive one. I maybe would have ran in and hit it as well, just because they were kind of low enough that I think it would have been justified. And sometimes
track her one more time.
And sometimes before doing that, just click on her, see what her duration is like. Like maybe she has 5 seconds left, maybe she has 20. Might be better just to check. That way you don't waste time animating. So that's about it. I would consider getting a blink as well. That's the one thing. I noticed you had to go Vlad's both games because everybody kept buying mech. I'm glad that you didn't make that mistake. Buy 2 mechs. You ready?
Dude, I'm ready. Okay. I have to use the restroom.
Okay.
Can you give me a break?
Yep.
Please, sir, may I use the restroom?
You may. We'll be back in about 2 minutes, guys. I'm going to do a live coaching.
90 seconds. We'll be right back.
All right, bye.